This is Angela Valente Romeo. Welcome to my blog, Colliding Worlds. This blog is a journey into the exploration of all things. Hi, this is Angela Valente Romeo, and we're bringing you another installment of Colliding Worlds. This is a 76 station, or is it a lollipop? We're going to find out. We're going to be speaking with Nash, and he'll explain more about his wonderful work. Come with us and have another journey. Today we're here with Nash. We're at Archdeacon Gallery, which is in Palm Springs. Eric, as you can see, is multi-talented, and he also has done a series of charcoal ravens, which we'll show you later on. Eric, thank you for being with us, and tell me all about these 76.
Well, thanks for inviting me. Well, the 76, it's kind of an interesting thing. I guess it kind of goes back to my first experiences here in California, which are...
At a 76 station, I hope not.
Well, the car is such a part of our life out here, and for some reason they just struck me as landmarks in a place without landmarks, and I sort of kept pushing that iconography and playing with it a little bit, and I guess I've discovered that a lot of Californians or people in Southern California had I don't know, kind of an emotional connection to them, and they're iconic, and they mean more than just a sign. It's sort of like, maybe it's a lollipop they remember as a kid, maybe it's a toy or something like that, but they just sort of evolved into this, this whole series that I thought was emblematic and iconographic of, you know, sort of the California landscape without saying a lot. You know, there's depth there in terms of, you know, what they stand for.
It's kind of a funny thing. This is an area where these signs really do mean a lot. I wasn't here, but there was a big push several years ago to save the pink elephant at the Rancho Mirage car wash.
Yeah.
They were going to destroy it, they were going to tear it down, and they raised money to save it. I grew up in Boston, and there's a Citgo sign in Kenmore Square, which they've now made a national landmark, so no one would tear it down because it evokes these memories. I'm looking at, we have other works over here which are kind of similar in the terms of the signs, and I think we should take a look at those. We're back over here and looking at some smaller works which have very, very vivid color, and some of you can look at this and probably tell where they are. The skies on these are gorgeous. Did you photograph them and then paint them from memory?
Well, actually, I try to do a little bit of both, but while I drive, I actually photograph, and I kind of try to capture those sort of I don't know, spontaneous moments that we all experience, and signs and signage have always been of interest to me, and that goes back to, like, you know, Ed Ruscha, the artist, and Edward Hopper and so forth. There's sort of moods, and I don't know, they're very evocative, and
the skies are wonderful.
Yeah, I play with them a little bit. I try to get the sort of optimal moments, I guess you could say, but again, I really want to capture that notion that you're just sort of literally driving by, you're experiencing it from the car, that it's just, you know, our world sort of experienced in fragments and moments.
I love signs. I have photographs of signs from all over the world, and they're just so much fun. But they bring you back to a time or a place in a moment, and you've captured moments here. They were absolutely amazing. Totally different medium, totally different subject. What brought you to the ravens? The clouds. Now, your other series that was here at the gallery were charcoal of ravens, and they were stunning. They were absolutely amazing. Totally different medium, totally different subject. What brought you to the ravens?
Well, interestingly enough, I've always been interested in the raven just because it occurs in all human mythology, from the Arctic to the desert, and they've just been, you know, a part of our iconography. Actually, the first bird that Noah released was in the Bible was a raven, not the dove. And the raven flew back and forth to dry the land. So it's always been part of our, I don't know, cultural heritage, our mythology. Like I said, all cultures have this. So to me, they're symbolic.
Now, when I looked at the ravens, the eyes were really fascinating. It's because ravens kind of have a dead stare to them, and it was right there. Like, you thought the raven. When we show you the charcoal drawings, you'll understand the ravens kind of look at you like they see you, and they're waiting for you to move, and they're going to steal that shiny object that you have. But they were absolutely just exquisitely done.
Oh, well,
they were
you.
very
Thank
Audubon.
You. Yeah.
but at the same time, they had sort of, you know, a Tim Burton like
yeah.
mystery to them.
Well, there is that what would you call it, omniscient quality that they seem to have, and I think that, I don't know, I think that they're just really interesting creatures, and again, and one of the reasons I chose charcoal for them, obviously they're black, but charcoal is such a simple and ancient medium. I mean, it goes back to the original, you know, fires in the caves with a stick and amber on the wall of the cave, and it just seemed to be appropriate for, you know, the subject matter and for everything.
With the size of the work, the charcoal, it was perfect. It was just perfect. The other thing that I found really interesting about them was that there was life to them. And charcoal is kind of a hard thing to give life to, because it is flat, and it's a real skill in getting the gradations, in giving pop to it. And you managed to do that quite well. And we're now in front of a whole different genre. You can see behind me are skulls. They're not 76 station signs. They're not street signs. There are no skies here. Tell me about the skulls.
Well, again, as I said, all my work tends to go to simplifying some sort of object or thing into an icon. And skulls, obviously, are a very ancient and powerful icon, similar to the ravens. And to me, what's always been interesting about skulls is that they represent life, in the sense that they're literally the last thing that's left behind, you know, for us as humans or in this material world. So it's always been interesting to me to capture maybe the personality of the people that once
lived there,
filled out these skulls. But they all try to, I mean, each one has its own distinct personality.
You also said you've done series of them, and this is your 7th or 8th series of skulls. Do they take the same format, the same very stark white, black, red, or do they vary?
No, I pretty much try to focus just on the skull itself and strip away everything else. So it becomes very much about the expression and the personality of each skull. And I actually have a real skull that I work with, and I also study pictures or photographs of skulls, and I just sort of channel what I think is, you know, the essence of a person, but through the skull, through the iconography of a skull, and each one sort of becomes alive and a personality.
Have you met my husband?
No, I have not.
Yeah. Okay, my husband has this fascination with skulls as well, and we have several in our house. It's just very unnerving to me, but these are very different than the Ed Hardy skulls that everybody has seen. Yeah. They're not nearly as commercial. They're not just as tacky as some of the Ed Hardy ones are. These do have a personality. This one here is very different than the smaller ones, and this one is almost an unfinished one. Again, what drew you to that particular drawing and this one?
Well, again, like I say, what I do is I don't really plan it out. I just sort of start to go, and it depends on, you know, where I'm at, my sort of mood or emotional state, and I create these sort of forms, these personalities, and they just sort of emerge, and I run with it, and then you have a sort of a distinct moment that maybe is reflective of where I was at, but hopefully it captures the essence of what a person would have been like.
We've seen 3 different subject matters. We've seen ravens, we've seen the signs, we've seen the skulls. They all have a common thread in that they are distinct images and they do evoke emotion. They're very different. Do you have a favorite amongst the series, or is it just depends on the day?
I think it depends, but I mean, I really think, well, both the ravens and skulls, just because I'm really interested in distilling iconography down to the most basic and maybe universal iconography, and I think skulls and ravens for me kind of represent that. Again, they go back, you know, in our own mythology, and they are so much a part of who we are, and it's fun to explore that and try different things with something that anybody from a child to an older person can relate to, you know? There's something that connects us all, and I really enjoy that.
One of the themes that we've been exploring with the blog and Colliding Worlds is the connecting of art to the average person, to anybody on the street.
Yeah.
And the common denominator, which is again what Hans Lechner, we spoke with in another episode, talked about, was a stone and the symbol, and it was very recognizable. These are very recognizable images, but at the same time, they're very special images. You've really managed to capture moments. And these are captured moments.
Yeah.
And they're very different from the ravens, very different from these, but they're all in the same vein. They're very approachable. Are you working on a new series of skulls or ravens or something
Yeah.
totally new?
No, the ravens are going to continue, and the skulls probably will continue as well. But I'm always in search of, and I have sort of a whole library of things I haven't yet explored in series, but that are similar in nature in terms of, like you say, things that iconography or objects that we all can relate to, and we all have our own moment and time with them, and this is a way to sort of put that forth. And you know, different people react differently to it, different people have different feelings about it, and that makes it dimensional and exciting. And
again, people, that's what makes art important. The fact that you were able to evoke an emotion and evoke a conversation, and I see something totally different. I can look at this and see, wow, I see warm and fuzzy, and someone else looks at it and going, oh my God, it's a flaming gas station. That's what it's all about, and that's what we're hoping to achieve, and your work is incredibly interesting, and I really thank you for spending time with us.
Appreciate it. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, this is another installment of Colliding Worlds. We're at the Archdeacon Gallery here in Palm Springs. Please come and see Eric's work. It doesn't do justice in just camera. You really have to see it. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much.